Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena.
Welcome back, everybody, to Belize Talk Radio. And boy, that commercial break, they would have liked some of the conversations we're having. Who knows where this one's going to go? So thanks for joining us back, listeners. So, okay, you were sharing with me like some of the animals that you have seen here. So go ahead and let the listeners in on this.
Well, the other day we saw this cutest little baby tapir. Of course, the only reason I knew what it was because we had gone to the Belize Zoo, which is absolutely wonderful. Do not miss it at all. It's great. So we see this little thing run across, and my husband says, "Was that?" I said, "Yes, that was a baby tapir." And he says, "I didn't know they came that small." And it's like,
but it was cute.
It was adorable, adorable.
And their nickname is the mountain cow, correct?
Mountain cow.
Yeah, no kidding. And I can't see that little creature growing that big, but wow.
And he was fast.
Extremely
fast.
Yeah, he was definitely scared of the car coming up the road.
Yeah.
He knew, smart enough to get out of the way.
And then also the other day we just saw in our little creek that runs in front of our house an egret, a white, beautiful egret.
Pretty.
And he was just bathing himself in the creek, just walking around, picking at something to eat, I guess.
Yeah, that was definitely out of...
That was beautiful.
I've never seen one that far in. Yeah. Is that normal?
You know what? You don't see so many egrets here, and it's funny to me to hear you say that because we see them in Florida a lot.
Right.
But not, it's not like
I was just like, huh? You're lost.
maybe following us in from Florida. You never know. We'll have to ask Ricky about that one too. Ricky Monsanero is going to a whole list of questions we have for him now. So you've been to the Belize Zoo.
Oh yes.
Which is known as what, the best small zoo in the world or something?
Yep.
That's a beautiful tagline. And that tapir, something that we talked about on the show, and we've done interviews with Sharon Matola, who started the zoo and is a phenomenal woman. Done amazing things. I'm sure you know her story. Yes, you know her story. And listeners, I'm sure you've listened to the show with Sharon Matola. If you haven't, go to the Belize Talk Radio iTunes because you can download it, and she's fabulous. And it doesn't cost anything to hear this great story. But so you've seen all these different animals that Belize has. So, but in the wild, you've seen tapir, and you've seen your egret. What else have you seen?
Let me think.
Howler monkeys?
Howler monkeys, that's
right. Absolutely.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. They make that big noise, and they're like a little baby.
And it is a huge noise.
It's
thus they call them howler monkeys.
And spider monkeys.
Spider monkeys. And
wild.
Actually, the spider monkeys were encroaching on the howler monkeys, and that's why they were making such a racket. And that was just up at Zunantinich, just right up the road. Or as you would say, tuna sandwich on the road to Guatemala.
you remember.
I remember that.
Tuna sandwich. Oh, you guys are so adorable. This is something that is that Belize has always touched my heart so much on, is because you meet people as a contextual part of it, like might be clients, but it becomes much deeper and many more levels than that, and it becomes family. And I think it's because we all have the same thing in common. We move from a different country. So we have that frame of reference to have that friendship and bond and figure out, together how we go forward. So like, if you call Guido at the office, he'll help you find out who can do this or that and that. And, you can, call Jenny and she'll tell you, yes, you need, this is who the dentist is and here's whoever. And all of that's very helpful. But for me, it's very fascinating to be able to actually be somewhere that I call home, and yet I wasn't born there. Mm-hmm. So it gives me a whole different frame of reference for, like my grandmother, she came from Poland, and came to the United States with each one of them $5 in their pocket, in her family, they had $20 in their pocket. And what it must be to be a real immigrant. And, the challenges that come with that. And yet in Belize, I've always felt accepted.
That's true. That is very true. I've never felt like an immigrant here or a visitor. I felt like I've walked right into my own home. I don't know why.
Or a tourist.
I've never felt like a tourist, no.
It's
No.
it's a different state of mind. It really truly is, and that goes back to what I said earlier. It's very simple. It's very simple to live here. It's very easy to shop here. It's very easy to do a transaction. Not a paid plug again, but 7 pieces of paper to close on a house, 2 signatures. You're done.
There is a difference. There's just a little bit of a difference.
Simple. Simplicity.
Simple.
Simple.
And people take you at face value. When you have someone smile at you, they're genuinely smiling at you.
Yeah, that's a neat concept too,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
And when you say something, they take your word for what you just said.
it's
You know?
different.
Yeah.
So who's the cook in the family?
I am.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I remember this. Wasn't there something we had talked about a long time ago? I think 4 years ago. Let me go back to that allspice tree. There was lasagna or something involved that you were going to be cooking, right?
Pumpkin pie.
That's it. She remembers. Score listeners. And so you know, I have several passions in my life when it comes to food because I am a foodie. Pumpkin pie being one of them, and Jackie makes fantastic pumpkin pie, so I'm told, and I'm going to wait to find out.
Because I have a can of pumpkin coming in my shipment.
Dear Lord, if I knew that was the hold-off, I would have found it.
Yep.
You do know we have fresh pumpkin here?
That's true, we do, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I haven't seen it yet.
We'll let her have
I've
some
never
time.
seen her make a pumpkin pie with fresh pumpkin.
The
I
challenge
would
is
pay
on.
for that. I'd pay to watch
It
that.
can't be that hard.
Listeners, maybe we'll have another show of the pumpkin pie and Belize episode.
Hey, Thanksgiving is right around the corner.
It is, right.
That's
so
right.
for true. For me, pumpkin pie is all year long. It doesn't have to be just Thanksgiving. And it is fun to do Thanksgiving here in Belize and invite Belizeans. And, you know, our first Thanksgiving, we had done that. And you know, Jan and Robbie came, obviously. They're, you know, one's from the States, one's from Germany. But a lot of locals came. And it was so much fun to share something that was, you know, like our culture, and to share with them and, you know, have the two come together. Because living here, we get to learn so many of the different cultures from Belize and, you know, the September celebrations for our independence and everything like that. That becomes part of our culture also. But to share something from home is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
So are you going to learn how to make tortillas here?
What is that?
Why do you say what is that? You've eaten the tortillas.
Yeah, she has.
You don't want to learn how to make the tortillas.
Yeah, why not?
Well, you know, when they honk, you know that's the tortilla person coming through, right?
Oh, okay.
Listen in the morning and listen, you know, at around 5. You'll hear them go beep, 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 beep. And that's the tortilla man selling their tortillas, or woman. So you just go out to your door real quick, though, because they sometimes go flying by.
Yeah.
And you go outside and you get your homemade tortillas twice a day.
Yum.
Yum.
I want to learn how to do really good Belizean beans and rice. Really. Coconut rice. Yeah.
Yep, the whole works.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's a knack to doing that stewed chicken right.
Is there?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There is a
That's what I need
whole
to
process to do it. I shouldn't say right, because that's a judgment call. I'm sorry about that, listeners. To say it the way that I like it.
Right.
Because I like a lot of the sauce. They call it gravy. You know, when I always
Right.
ask for extra gravy, they call it gravy, and I like lots of juice. So to make it, and make it with lots of juice and lots of flavor all the way through it, is amazing. Oh, we hear the birds. This was a great place, listeners, for us to do this Belize Talk Radio show, because we're actually at, like I had told you, Casa Cabello Blanco, which actually is on a migratory path of the birds, and there's, you know, amazing amount of birds here, and it's that time of day where they're going to be coming in.
Yeah, and the property is just absolutely beautiful.
So maybe, and actually this show's being videotaped, so you can go to Belize Talk Radio or to the Facebook page, and you can actually, whoops! The bird is calling me. You can actually watch the video if you'd like to see the video of this show. So maybe for part of the video, we'll have like a toucan will just randomly come in and land on your shoulder.
Okay, I'm good with that.
So do you think that there was any challenges before you were moving here? Was a test to see how sincere you were to come, or what do you think about your process to come here? Do you think it was smooth and easy and it was meant to be, or what do you think?
Oh, it was a journey.
It was a journey.
You know, we made the decision, and you know, we bought 4 years ago, and we had a few false starts. Oh, we'll be down in 2012.
I know, we kept thinking you were coming sooner.
We'll be down in 2013, and I was very loyal to the company and the people that I worked with and worked for. We were purchased a few times along the way, and I stayed along through those acquisitions. And the last 4 years commuting back and forth to DC were a burden, but it was worthwhile. The great people, great company, but it was time. And the biggest thing was our daughter, our youngest daughter, just got married October 11th up in Phoenix, and she said, "Dad, the only wedding present I want from you is for you to retire."
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like,
Wow, really?
Tough.
Yes. Daddy can't say no.
Daddy can't say no.
No.
So they'll hopefully they'll be down for Christmas. But and then we're heading back just for a few weeks in March for our oldest daughter and her wedding. But the speed bumps it was good sound reasons for waiting. Nothing would have changed if we got down here earlier. It's just that the journey was a little bit longer. And what was your bet? We were coming or going?
I thought you were coming sooner.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that was...
they'll never be down here.
No, I didn't believe that at all. You know why? Because there's something, it's back to what Mandy said about the realness and authenticity of a lot of the people that you meet that have actually moved here, and you all had that from the get-go. So, I knew you were coming. I just thought it was sooner.
I always said to him too that we'll get there when we're supposed to get there.
Yeah, true.
And everything just worked out so beautifully and so perfectly to finally make it happen.
That's what the scary part was. Everything just
Fell
lined
into
up.
place.
It was like, oh.
Okay, I'm going. It's meant to be. I got the lesson.
It was really phenomenal how things just came
Together.
Fell into place. And I mean, 3.5 years of speed bumps and 90 days of things just perfect sailing.
Yeah.
That was exasperation.
Okay, so we, right here, we're right in the middle. I'm sitting in the middle of these two, and Jackie's like, "Yeah, right. The last 90 days. So tell us about those last 90 days, honey. Were they so smooth sailing?"
So, for the 3.5 years, we were, contemplating, thinking, planning, dreaming, and then July, I forget what day it was. Third. Our house sold. And they said, the only thing we need you to do is to be out of there by the 28th of July.
Thanks.
And this was
25 days later, 25.
3,000 square foot home with 36 years of items and memories and things. And we said, okay. So my husband decided that was a good time to go on a trip, a working trip, and left me to deal with that.
25 days.
And with a big smile on my face, I said, don't you worry, honey, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, I'll be paying for that for the next 36 years.
So
at least you're in paradise.
The house sold, we got out of there, it closed, we went up to Tucson. My husband had to have some surgery, he got that done, everything went well with that. My youngest daughter got married, and here we are, in 90 days. It was like, okay, that was fun. Let's not do that again.
That is like a world-spinning whirlwind where your head goes, ugh.
Yeah.
Stop everything. So now you're here.
So now we're here.
And now you can just relax.
Relax.
Are you breathing lots of that fresh air?
Yep.
It's easy. Well, you know where the house is on the creek.
Yeah. Well, I happen to know where the house is.
Right, yeah. The windows are open, the creek, you have the running water, and it's just, what a great way to fall asleep.
Really?
Yeah. It's just extremely peaceful. Yeah. Dark skies, quiet. It's nice. It's home.
It's home.
It's already home. Yeah.
And it's lovely to be home, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can see. I don't think the smile's going to be coming off y'all for quite a while. Listeners, they are smiling from ear to ear. That's a fabulous thing. So what do you think that you're going to be wanting to, let's say in when you catch your breath, no hurry, no rush, what are some of the things that you want to still see and do while you're, expanding your breath in Belize?
Oh, we need to get around to a few places. We've been down to Placencia. We want to go down to Punta Gorda. I have some friends, believe it or not, in Tegucigalpa.
Okay.
So we're trying to recontact or come back in contact with them. The other, things are, giving to the community. We want to get involved in what's happening up in the Cristo Rey Village. Take a look at really good programs that the Cornerstone Foundation has.
They do good work.
I know Jackie's looking at the domestic violence shelter. That's part of her background from the United States.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I'd like to get back doing that.
Any place where, we could help. It doesn't matter whether it's doing a spreadsheet or, hammering in a nail. Just something, volunteerism.
Yeah.
We've been very, very blessed in our lives, and now it's that time to give back.
I don't know what your experience will be, and we'll need to do another show about this, but the thing that I have noticed is when we've helped with the community, because, our office is like a family. We're just different. We know that. We're okay with that. But anyhow, we're definitely a family. But we help different people and kids and a lot of different things that need to be helped are in our hearts. And you get to see firsthand when you've helped somebody. So you might, have helped a child get into school that could not have continued on. And then you meet the mother, who's working at the bank, and then the father, you see him at a resort that's working, and it's like, wow, you see everything. And, and being a minister that came from the States, we would help people, but you never saw how it really helped a whole family.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. And here you're going to be able to see that. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask you your experience while you're doing this, because it's something that's really enriched my soul, and it has had a life-changing impact on me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm so excited to see this, because this gets to be your gift.
Yeah.
Of being able to have this life, and it's one I highly recommend, but it looks really good on you all for sure. And when your family comes down, they may not want to leave. Yep,
and we know this.
Yeah. I had one of my boys that, he was like, I'm staying. I was like, oh, and he would come back for 2 months at a time. A week wasn't long enough, and it's really not.
A week is not long enough at all.
Yeah, I know it's been torture, you guys coming back for the little bit of time you could come back and not get to stay longer.
Yeah, we came down in 2 to 3 week stretches. But it wasn't. It was enough to get done what we needed to get done. Whether working with some local contractors to get some work done on the house before we moved in, or just doing the getting to know the community. But now it's much different, especially with neighbors coming over as the welcome wagon and saying, "Hey, hello, how are you? Welcome." Here's a velvet pear tree.
Have a tree. Have a tree.
No, seriously, I think
that was fabulous.
That was just absolutely
and she brought me seeds too. It's like a tree and seeds. How fabulous is that?
What kind of seeds are they?
Flower seeds.
Flowers.
What type of flowers?
I think they were 4 o'clocks.
Not 5 o'clock to be confused with them, right?
I don't know.
Okay, another question from Ricky. We got a whole list from Ricky Manzanero going, okay, what's a 4 o'clock flower? I've never heard of that one. Well, one of my favorite plants that I've absolutely fallen in love with is the ginger plants. The red ginger plants, they look like they're plastic. They use them as ornamental plants in the United States, but they're like hard, like plastic things. And it's really fascinating because they're just beautiful, and they last forever. They actually, you can cut them and put them in water, and they do last forever. And we're looking, Jackie's actually pointing another flower, and that is actually a bird of paradise.
Okay.
Because it looks like a bird. It looks like a bird.
They use those for ornamental.
Yes, they do. They do.
I love them.
Can you imagine all these things we pay these hundreds and hundreds of dollars for as ornamental plants in the United States?
Exotic plants. And they're growing
right
in the backyard.
Right here, right everywhere.
Yeah.
Right here.
Everywhere,
it's like, driving down the Cristo Rey Road or going out to Benque. You know, every view is just spectacular. And this time of year, lush and green. Just coming from the desert, green is important.
You did not get a lot of green there. No. And actually, green is the predominant color that is 12 months a year here. So that's a good thing. Even when it's not in rainy season, which to me is always funny because it's kind of like Florida. We had talked about that earlier. It rains and then it stops. So you have the rest of the day to do whatever. For example, it rained earlier and now it's gorgeous outside again. And actually very cool, which we like that too. We're thankful for that.
Great breeze.
Yeah. It makes it nice. It gives us a nice little break. But even during the dry season, things are still green. They could use some more water sometimes to keep them a little bit greener. But, you know, it's not like everything turns like in the fall, you know, which the fall is beautiful up north, the trees and stuff. But then they get to that point where everything's just ugly looking. Big difference, big difference. So what do you feel like you're going to be doing? You're going to be doing volunteer things, and you're going to want to go look around, you know, at the different places in the country that you haven't seen yet. What do you feel for you that's going to be the difference as far as your spirit and your energy as far as now living here in Belize full time? He takes a deep breath.
Well, you know, you heard of type A personalities.
Yeah.
They called me AAA.
AAA. Yes, and Jackie's agreeing. She's shaking her head. She's agreeing.
So that spiritual center that I'm going to find, and I think I've found most of it. I haven't checked my cell phone this whole conversation.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and remember when we first got here, I was always looking, and I've broken that habit really well.
That's a good one to break.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that is about being fully present and what you're doing, and it's, you know, similar. You go to restaurants and, you know, everybody waits for the food and they look at their phone. You know, why'd you go out to eat?
Yeah,
Might as well just stayed home and called in the food and everybody do their thing. So, you know, I don't know. I'm glad you're not going to be a AAA anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Maybe we can get you down to at least a single A.
Oh,
Or minus A.
Small A.
And small A. Or we get really good with small negative A.
Yeah.
So that's a good change for you to have. What do you think for you?
For me, in the States, I was always tired. I'm much more laid back than Mark ever was, but almost to the extreme of being just always tired and lethargic. And I have lung problems and the whole bit, allergies, terrible. Now I feel like I have a lot more energy. My lungs feel like they're getting better. I'm still coughing a bit, but it's a lot better. I feel, and eventually the allergies will disappear because I'm not exposed to the same thing as I was. So.
And you have more moisture in the air, which always helps the lungs.
Right.
For breathing, as we know.
Right. So, yeah, I have more energy now.
The good food will help the energy for sure. You know, those preservatives and the GMOs and the things that are so rampant in the other parts of the world aren't good for us. Oh, by the way.
Yes.
And to be able to have the foods, I've always been cognizant of when you eat the vegetables and the fruits here, the flavor, the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Is like, my daughter said it, you know, out of the mouth of babes, right? When we first moved here, she had some pineapple. You know, we've just moved here. She had never been to Belize. We just moved here, and she had some pineapple, and she's like, Mommy, this pineapple is so much sweeter than what we get in the States. Now, keep in mind, the pineapple in the States, a lot of the times what we get was the stuff in the cans with the heavy syrup.
Yeah.
The little ring things that are just, don't even look real anymore to me. But the pineapple here was fresh, you know, fresh cut, fresh, you know, fresh on her plate, and it was sweeter than the, you know, the actual store-bought, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, Kiara, that's because there's a huge difference of something being grown organically and fresh and not picked to ship hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles, not thousands, but that's an exaggeration, hundreds of miles to you. 2 or 3 or 4 months before you're even going to eat it. Even 2 or 3 weeks. Here we get it cut and we eat it. Fabulous.
Yeah. Okay, well, just like the eggs. You know, it's
And bananas.
day fresh.
Bananas.
2 day fresh.
It doesn't even taste like the same fruit.
They don't put that coating in my mouth.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know.
I get this this weird coating when I'm in the States
When
of
you
bananas.
eat it there, and it
I don't
doesn't
eat them in
have-
the States anymore
No.
because they get something.
I can't either.
I don't like them. Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
But here you can literally, get those little monkey bananas, those apple bananas. My goodness, they're delicious. Little, they're as big as your finger. You know that.
Yeah.
Listeners, you're gonna want to come to Belize and learn about this. But they're sweet as honey. So yeah, it's just fabulous.
Has Belize
Now I'm
been-
getting hungry, and I'm not even hungry.
Has Belize been able to keep GMO seeds out?
They have fought really hard to have that happen, which is very good. And yes, I know that is thank God, Gigi. And what's very important about that is because once that starts, that causes an issue, right?
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of being a small country, small but proud,
Yeah.
small and strong.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we're gonna need to touch base and do this again. We're gonna do this another 3 or 4 months and go, okay, so what's going on now? What'd you learn? You'll be like, oh my Lord, she's making tortillas, and now he's growing his own beans for my rice and beans, and who knows? Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you so much, Jackie and Mark. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Macarena.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure and honor. It's a pleasure and honor to be your host for Belize Talk Radio. I'm your host, Macarena Rose. We'll see you next time on the Overseas Radio Network.
Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena.